Hey guys, and welcome to another podcast. Today's title is Good Enough is Good Enough. So if you're watching this on the YouTubes, please like and subscribe. If you are listening via Spotify or Apple on the go, do the same. Subscribe at least. Share it around, please. As I said in the last episode, the emotional conditioning one, this is what it's about. Typically, so a quick introduction. Ian Bickle, I help typically binge emotionally is chronic yo-yo diet is people that are stuck in this perpetual endless cycle, and I help undo that. I often work with clients who are 35, 40 years of age or older, who have been kind of stuck in this endless campaign for years and years, decades, often 10, 20, 30 years. And it's crazy because I can help people get out of that very, very quickly. Let's put my light on very, very quickly. And they've, in their words, tried everything. Now, today's title, Good Enough is Good Enough. This is something that often cripples people from being successful in any areas of their life, especially with food. Now, I thought this title when I was speaking to a client today, and she came to me and she said basically she's had a really challenging week. A lot of things have like led her to feel like the week's been a failure. And you know what? She said that it hasn't been her A game, you know. And I said, listen, I don't expect A games. Sometimes we're going to have to operate at a B or a C or a D. And this is the reality of life. Now, who I work with, these are adults. These are highly functioning individuals. They've got lots of stresses and responsibilities, often children. So they literally do not have time. I know a lot of people say that. I do not have time. And I'm like, I totally get that. I understand that. I'm a parent. I've got two young children myself. I totally empathize with you. Yes, most people do not have time to do the things that they think they have to do. So, what is the alternative? There is a huge gap between what they think they have to do and what they are actually doing. And this is why good enough is good enough. We have to embrace, and this is going to be difficult to hear for a lot of people, we have to embrace imperfection. If you're a perfectionist, you will likely struggle with this for the longest of time because you often will think that everything has to be correct. How is this correctness measured? Well, it's typically a perceived good, bad, pass, fail. And these rules are, going back to the last podcast, make sure you listen, are conditioned by the belief systems that is really kind of culturally accepted or unaccepted, and that's going to depend on which culture you're in. A big part of my service is getting people out of diet culture, and this is the thing: you can be in the wrong culture, and you can generate the belief systems that is right and this is wrong. You go to a different culture, and it's completely the opposite. Now, if you've done diet after diet, you'll probably notice there's a lot of confliction there. And this is where the perfectionistic mindset sets in because you are setting yourself up for failure. Now, high standards is super important. Really, really important. I'll say to my clients, and I said to this lady, do your best. Do your best. Work towards an A. All right. But if it happens to be a B plus, B minus, a C, however this grade is, where you're making up the grade, you can change your perceptions. Good enough is good enough. I want to use these podcasts and YouTube videos. Something that put me off would be the quality. And it's like, my God, worrying about the quality is actually stopping me from putting anything out into the world. Anything. So, what would be better? All right, just to do it, standardize it, refine it as it goes on, get better. build up something, do something, rather than sitting there and worrying for days, weeks, months, years. And this is where people stay stuck. They may experience certain amounts of pain, which is a catalyst for going, right, yep, I'm starting. And what do? They do a variation of something that they've always done, which inevitably leads them back to square one or worse off. They're doing stupid stuff, bullshit, dieting bullshit. And the reality is that that's the difference between a human doing and a human being. Now, I turn my clients into human beings. It's part of them. It aligns with who they are, their values, what's important to them, the people around them that they want to bring on this journey, and also some people around them that may not be welcome on this journey. But I'm going off on a tangent. That's maybe a topic for a different day. But good enough is good enough. Now, this is going to be circumstantial to each individual out there, but you can ask the question to yourself: what is going to keep me in the grey? Now, the grey is where we want to spend the majority of our life, okay? And think of it like a dimmer switch on a light rather than a light switch, because this is where most people are. They have the light switch mentality. They're on, they're off. They're good, they're bad. They're right, they're wrong. They're black or white. The dimmer, now that's going to mean the difference between bright lights, everything's like clear and clarity, or like pitch black. Listen, we can still do something with just a little bit light in the grey, because this is the irony with perfection, is it's an impossible standard. Therefore, the likelihood is you are always going to be at the far end of the spectrum, the other end of the spectrum to perfection, which is fuck it mode, the fuck it mentality. What's the point thinking? And this is problematic in the binge and emotional eating, and the chronic procrastination and the worry and the overwhelm. And by the end of this call, because I love it when clients come to me with their situations and circumstances, and the reality is that, you know, they've been triggered emotionally, and it's the condition after responses which are the challenging things. So it's like, listen, the emotions are normal. We are humans, therefore emotions are necessary. They're signals, they're messengers, they're signs. What we need to do is look at the conditioned response. Is this a road that you've always walked down, given the feelings and thoughts and beliefs that you've kind of got? And the answer would be, yeah, typically, yeah, this is what keeps me stuck. Like, I'm good for a period of time until eventually, you know, I can't do what I've set out to do. And it's like, well, because maybe what you were trying to do just is a system that isn't right for you. You don't want to do it. Again, another topic. So many podcast ideas. Get these written down. But then we can look at, well, what can you do? And that's the big thing. That's where we need to start, is maybe you're clouded, your judgment is clouded because you're in this fight, flight, or freeze situation because things are getting on top of you. And this is where so many people struggle. They're like, I need more time. And I'm like, listen, you need more clarity. You need more understanding. Maybe you need better systems. Maybe you need to understand things with more kind of, clarity. That's the only word that's coming to us. You know, you're losing the forest for the trees. And here's the thing, you can kind of stop, pause, take a moment, grab a pen and a bit of paper, and just start to kind of like gather like maybe actionable things that you can do that's going to, what I call with clients, bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. With the majority, I would say 99% of my clients, if not all of them, what maybe they perceived once a time was a food and diet and exercise problem is now an emotional problem. Procrastination, overwhelm, worry. These aren't food problems. They often lead to that mentality that makes people make food choices that are coping mechanisms, but they are also have a diet as mentality. I mentioned in the last podcast, this is an identity shift. The likelihood is that the situations that you find yourself isn't the first time you found yourself in this situation. And unless you're going to change the environment that you're in, which a lot of people unfortunately do have to, they may have to kind of take a look at the people around them, their support mechanisms. But I'm like, listen, you've got one life. There's an inevitable thing that comes at the end of it, which is death. What happens between now and then, that's on our terms. So you can start making the decision to go, right, this is a process. I'm not looking for this one thing, this one solution. I need to figure this out as I go. And that's where the commitment to do your best. And things aren't going to be perfect, and that's okay. We need to embrace that. There needs to be a certain degree of self-acceptance and self-compassion within this. It's okay. It's okay to struggle. Nobody's perfect. But the difference between those that are successful and the ones that struggle are the people that are always, the ones that commit, the ones that see it through, the ones that go through and meet the challenges and get past the challenges, versus the ones at the first sign of inconvenience, all of a sudden the victim mentality starts playing in. And again, that sounds pretty harsh, and I get that. And if you want to listen to a podcast that doesn't empower you, go ahead. Go tell your friends, go tell your parents, and they'll tell you what you want to hear. Everything's okay. It's all right. But that disempowers you. You are in charge. You take control of your emotions. You determine what actions you take. If you are getting sick, and by the way, if it's an acute thing, all right, if it's just something that's happened, pissed you off, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay to have a bad time. It's okay to go through a little bit of struggle. That's part of life. Have a cry, like piss and moan. But if it's a chronic thing, if it's just constantly showing up again and again and again, sometimes with with my clients, they reach that threshold where it's like, right, I've got to sort this out once and for all. And that's where people need to make a decision to maybe get help. Like what I do, there's nothing magic there. I help clients in whatever capacity they need help with. And again, it's that emotional conditioning, it's that emotional fitness. It's helping them develop a different identity, a different mental resilience, a different attitude. We sort out and help with the emotional stuff with food. That's easy peasy, and reconnecting and all of that sort of stuff. But what we actually do is develop a completely different outlook to ourselves, a different attitude, because that's what's required. The old you needs just upgraded, and that's what we do. Just think of it like your iPhone, there's new software patches, and it's an upgrade. It's a better operating system. And that's the thing. If you're just trying to operate on old software, that's going to be problematic. We need new and upgraded. And this is where outsourcing to a coach, a mentor, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else, but make it a definitive thing. Don't just do another diet or whatever. Like sometimes my clients refer to as like a life coach. I was like, ugh, but okay, I get it, because this is a life thing. This is your entire life that we need to be conscious of. So if that is something that you need to go, okay, then this requires me to take a leap of faith. I need to just outsource this. I need a different perspective. I need someone to raise me up, lift me up, raise my game. This isn't about being this kind of hashtag disciplined, like willpower, like getting your cold immersion things, like, and do all of this kind of bullshit. Like, this is about genuine change. You might do that, you might not do that, but like in journaling and all of that sort of stuff, and meditation and yoga, it's like, right, that stuff's okay, that's fine. But this is about genuine, like, real change. All right. And that requires like you to make that decision of like, right, each and every one of the clients I've worked with on a one-to-one basis, because that's how I work with clients, because I operate and work in their world. Like, it's not about me having the magic solution. It's about us figuring out stuff together, the things that they've lost focus and clarity on. And that's where the magic happens, because they actually personally experience things. And they go through the trial and error with me alongside them, guiding, supporting, offering clarity and direction. I always say to clients, like, the less I do, the better. And it sounds kind of backwards, but what does that give people? Confidence, competency, knowledge, understanding. And I said to this client, I said, this is great because this means more training, more conditioning. We know next time this happens, because it will happen again, what to do, because we're learning through actual experiences, and we can bring it to the calls rather than you being on your own, or rather than you soundboarding from the wrong people who aren't going to tell you what you need to hear. They will tell you what you want to hear. Good enough has to be good enough. And sometimes good enough will mean maintaining. It may mean damage limitation. You just have to kind of look at that black and white and think about the grey and being in there. Anyway, if that has helped, I hope so. It's part of the emotional conditioning that I want to do with you and give you a bit perspective. In the links, I will put my diet scorecard. I will put my free Facebook group. I will put a link to a free 30-minute discovery call. This is a discovery call just to chat about you and your situation. It's not salesy or anything like that. If we think something is there, we can explore that further. But ultimately, anybody that I work with, it's a relationship, and a relationship built upon trust. And that's all that I want to earn with all of this sort of stuff. So I've been Ian Bickle. Check my website, buildwithbickle.com. Take the diet scorecard. There'll be a pop-up on there. But anything else, please feel free to email me at ian@buildwithbickle.com. Thank you very much. I hope this helps. Catch you soon.